Hello, GenRight Nation. I'm Tony Pellegrino, and this is Tech Talk. Thanks for joining me. Tech Talk is something we do every Wednesday on both Facebook and YouTube at 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And it's really your chance to be able to interact with somebody like me and talk everything Jeep related. So I've got a bunch of stuff to cover today. I think everybody's going to enjoy all the topics. And today we're actually coming to you from my garage. If you're not aware, we're out in California, and we've had some crazy winds and different kind of natural disaster fire conditions. And here at the house, I've got total battery backup. We're kind of off grid right here, and we'll make sure we don't get the show interrupted. So we're always looking forward to coming to everybody. It's one of my favorite activities during the entire week. So thanks again for joining us. It's January 8th, and we're in 2025, of course. So the last time I came to everybody, I was live from Las Vegas and for New Year's. And now we're back here and what we call home. This really is home. And Jennings and I are bringing you the show today. So thanks for joining us. Who we got so far?
Let's see. Kathy McCavis says hi. Almost Tony time. Rick Turner says it's time for school with Sensei Tony.
Big Rick.
Craig Huffman says good evening, fellow Jeep lovers.
Nice.
Anthony Paquette says happy New Year, GenRight family.
Thank you.
VB Tom says hello, GenRight family from chilly Virginia Beach.
Oh, yeah.
Doug Frost says hello from Tombstone, Arizona.
Nice.
Paul Kenneth is watching. Patrick Vaughn is watching. Says hi, Tony and GenRight Nation from San Diego.
All right, Big Patrick.
Adam Harrell is watching. Michael Atkinson is watching. Says hello. Keith Lyons says hello from Not on Fire, North Carolina.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Josh Nestor says Callie and I are watching.
Cool.
Hi, bestie. Shane Walford is watching.
All right, Big Shane.
Steve Bird says hello, everyone.
Nice.
Esther Parrott Newcomb says hope you guys are safe.
So far, so good.
Bob Becker and Mark Lawrence are watching.
Awesome.
Robert Lavoie says what's up, everyone, from Whittier.
Nice.
Esteban Gonzalez says hello, GenRight. Two Feather Channel. Sean Johnson, congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Pellegrino.
Yeah.
Thank you. Jerome Balky says, hey, GenRight crew, hope everyone is staying safe here in SoCal with the fires. Matt McDonough says, hey guys, hope everyone out there is staying safe. Randy Hemme, happy New Year's to all. Stephen Waterman, hi Tony, hope everyone's okay and safe. JC
Thanks.
Cologne, hello GenRight family, congrats to the both of you.
Thank you.
Aaron Parker, congratulations Tony. Kathy McCavis, congrats again to you and Jennings. Alfred Ramirez, Bruce Graham says stay safe y'all. And
nice.
Lots more people are still jumping on. Oh, Laura Cota says hi from freezing Michigan.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
Steve
it's got to be
Bird
cold
says
back
it's
there.
in the single digits here in Michigan.
Yeah, I talked to somebody this morning in Canada. They said it's like 20 below. That's ridiculous.
Cameron Harris is watching.
It was a chilly 68 here today.
Deborah Carnell says hello from Chandler. Stay safe. Alex Israel, Davin Glass, Jared Ball, Paul Leonidas says hello. Buster
Nice.
Matthews.
Wow, lots of people watching. Awesome.
Lots more.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for taking time out of all your busy days to join us for this. And hopefully I can make sure that you get something out of this. As usual, actually my slides are out of order. I was going to say you can ask your questions and comments just by typing in a comment on there, and Jennings will read those back on either platform. So feel free. No question too dumb. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. We're going to be talking about everything from CJ, YJ, TJ, LJ, JK, and JL. So pretty broad band. I think those will apply to everybody. Anyways, I know you'll find it interesting, and thanks for joining in. Oh, by the way, we changed our mic setup. So I'm hoping everybody can hear us as good or better than they ever have. And hope you guys enjoyed the new intro as well. So, okay, first up, right around the corner is King of the Hammers. Peter Doolin and Jeff, our very own Jeff Perkins, are going to be racing in the 353 in the modified class. This is a proven car, originally piloted by my son Jordan way back. I don't even remember what year, the first year he did that in. Since then, Peter's made a bunch of changes and really upgraded things. And it's a very, very capable car that does have our Legend suspension on it with the double triangulated rear forelink. And yeah,
audio sounds great.
Okay, good. Glad to hear it. Excellent. So the reason I bring this up is, well, there's the question and comment. People asked about apparel last time. And on the website right now, you can buy, Peter calls his team Hibernian Racing. So you can buy the hoodies and the t-shirts over on the GenRight website. There's a limited quantity. So if you're interested in supporting the race crew and flying the colors, so to speak, that's awesome. We appreciate that. And pick yourself up one of those. I think they come in pretty soon. So we're kind of pre-selling these because I think they're due next week. So, all right. Okay. Featured product. I know this is on the mind of a lot of people these last couple weeks, and it's going to be the roll cage. The reason I wanted to talk about the roll cage is there's a lot of specifics that I've never covered about a roll cage that I think it's time to educate everybody on this. I probably mistakenly assume that all of you have faith in GenRight and we just take everything into account, which we do, but I have foregone explaining all the details about what really goes into a roll cage other than just some cool aesthetics and some powder coat after it's welded up. The finished product is so far from what the cage is all about, that it's very important that we actually talk about all this stuff. So first off, the cage that you choose or that we offer to you, if you're choosing it from GenRight, has to be built to support the weight of your vehicle, okay? And I know you think to yourself, oh, what are you talking about? Well, if you've got a built Jeep, you've added 1,000+ pounds onto it. If you've put bigger axles and a transfer case and bigger tires and wheels and shocks and, all the stuff that goes with building, a capable wheeler, you've added 1,000 pounds for sure. So first off, we all know the stock cage is not adequate, okay? Certainly not if you add weight to the vehicle. The stock cage was geared around the total stock setup. So whatever tires and wheels came on that thing with no lift and that's what that cage was made for. And I don't care whether you got a CJ or you got a JL. Don't kid yourself. Underneath that padding is a not very big roll bar, and some of them aren't even completely enclosed or continuous all the way from front to back. A lot of the time they're bolted together. It gives you a false sense of security. And I know you may not think that way, but I'm telling you, you have a false sense of security with the stock cage. And for those of you that want to do a sport cage or an add-on cage, that is no bueno either. You really want to replace the cage with a full DOM tube cage that is the proper size tube for the weight of your vehicle. So a 4-door, whether it's a JK or a JL, is going to be 2-inch tubing. And if you have never seen 2-inch tubing up close, it is big. This is a piece of 2-inch tubing out of the roll cage, and that is one big tube. Okay, if you are doing like a CJ, YJ, TJ, that is 1 3/4. So you can see there's a little bit of a size difference there. And I want to remind everybody, I don't even think other manufacturers that are offering cages are offering 2-inch. I think they're doing 1 3/4. So that's one of the factors. Second factor is how fast are you going? Okay, so you know, in the old days when I first started Jeeping, you know, some people did 1.5-inch cages, some people did 1 3/4 cages, because everybody was going slow. They were rock crawling, and I want to caution you, if you're watching this and you're like, oh, you know, I don't need a cage, I don't wheel that hard. I'm going to show you some examples of people that weren't wheeling hard either, and in fact, some of them aren't even on the dirt. Okay, one of the guys that's probably watching is Troy Merritt. He's one of my ambassadors out in Nebraska. He got T-boned. He was standing still in an intersection and got T-boned. And it flipped his Jeep over and destroyed it with the stock cage. Okay, so he wasn't going to wheel hard either. He never had any idea that just a dump over like that would just destroy the thing. And yeah, you know, again, the factory cage is really just made to keep you alive. And I think that's the other important aspect for everybody to focus on. We build cages to keep you and your loved ones safe, okay? And if things really go bad, it's all about protecting you and you guys being able to walk away from what I'm going to call an accident. Okay, so that's an important aspect of when you're thinking about a cage. But in addition to the whole cosmetic beauty aspect of it, I just wanted to cover that. So the next thing is tube thickness. So you have to have a proper tube size. Now we use DOM tubing. That's short for drawn over mandrel. And what that means is that this is a seamless tube. Okay, and a seamless tube is the strongest because no matter where you press on it, it's not going to kink. And in the old days, you know, a lot of people just grab what's called HERW, which is a rolled tube and electrically welded. For all intents and purposes, it is strong enough, but this is the next step up. We put this on every single roll cage that we sell is the DOM tubing, and the minimum we use is 120 wall. So where there's additional joints and things that go together, it actually bumps up to 250 wall. So you've got really, really strong components here. I'll go through more of this as we go. The next is the number of tubes. If you look at that cage, you can see there's a lot of tubes going on. Are you pretty well zoomed in? There are a lot of tubes. If you look at it, you know, there's this is one big tube all the way up. Then you've got the tubes, what we call the B pillar. This is an additional, we add an extra pillar here, in what we call the C pillar, and then you have the D pillar, similar to what's in stock. And then we've got V-bars in the back, V-bars in the middle, V-bar in the front. Then you've got the spreaders that come over the top to help reinforce everything. I mean, there are tubes going every which way in there to help keep you and your family protected. The other thing that this does is it also helps to reinforce the tub so that if you do hit something, the whole Jeep doesn't just crush in around you. And all of those things are important. Now, the most common question we get is, Tony, does your cage work with a hard top and a soft top? The answer is absolutely yes. Every single cage from CJ all the way through JL works with the factory hard top and soft top 100%. The JL, we even have one now that works with the one-touch top. So we've accommodated every possibility. So I just wanted to let everybody know that.
Bobber Street us. Is it 40?
Is what?
Is it 40?
Is what 40?
I'm not sure. Rick Turner says, one thing I like about the GenRight design is the added tie-ins you offer to the frame.
Yeah. This particular cage comes down, and the floor plates, when it touches the floor, there's another plate that goes under and ties into the body mounts. And this effectively ties the whole cage into the frame. So, guys and gals, without getting into the engineering of it, there's a lot of dynamics. One of the things that people like about the JL is that it's very smooth and quiet and all those things. Well, part of the reason for that is that they put very soft body mounts on it. And you have to be careful about how much you stiffen things up or that stuff stops working. So there's a few dynamics going on there. We've accounted for all that. You don't have to worry about it. And we make sure that everything works. And of course, this is my personal Jeep that I wheel the daylights out of. So there's plenty going on.
He says .250, schedule 40.
Oh, no. It's all DOM. So what it is in the joints, I don't have one here, but what we do is if two tubes meet, we put another sleeve of 120 inside so that where it butts into, say, the B pillar, you've got 250 there so that the tube is not as likely to crush on an impact. So, yeah, it's a really cool way to do it. And I want to assure everybody, we get pictures like this all the time from customers. Here's somebody who never thought they were going to use their cage. They're just outside the parking lot, okay? And for whatever reason, they, tossed it right here. The next one's even better. Okay, this is one that I can tell you the only straight thing on that Jeep is the cage. This is the front axle over here that's broken in half. Wow. That's the front bumper and winch that ripped off the front.
Wow.
Okay, so, and again, I know you say to yourself, well, I'm not going to wheel like that. This guy was on the street, okay, and he came off the highway, and this is what it looks like. All right, so that's another one of those things that don't fool yourself. That's the equivalent of somebody riding a motorcycle without a helmet. Like, just you paid for it, use it. Okay.
But the aluminum top won't allow the hard top over it, right?
No, you just pop it off. It's an option, and the way we attach it is with some what are called clip nuts. I might even have some here. The clip nuts go on in a way that it allows you, here's what they look like. Can you zoom in on that? Mm-hmm. It's a cool little thing. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the threads are down in this piece right here. And this stays on the tab that you weld onto the cage. So what you do is when you set your top on, you just put the bolt in this thing, just so it takes about, I think there's 20 bolts that hold the roof on. And you can just pop them right off, top lifts off, and then you can put your hard or soft top right back on. So that's a common question that people ask me all the time. You got to remember, when you put your hard top on, there's, especially in a four-door, there's additional threaded pieces that go up into the top, or you got to be able to get to the Freedom tops, right? So if you have your hard top on, or your aluminum roof, you're not going to be able to, activate or latch those things. So just think that through, right? There's no reason to leave it on. It's easy to pop off. So, okay, it's sold to you guys as a cage kit. Now, you can buy it from us as a welded cage. It takes time and it's quite expensive, okay? But you can also have it welded, by somebody local to you. And I always recommend it's best to build your cage in your Jeep, okay? Because your Jeep's not perfect, right? If you've already wheeled it, it's changed, it's different. And when you build the cage inside there, then when you take it out to paint it or powder coat it and you put it back, it'll go right back in. So those are important aspects to think about when you're talking about a cage.
Question?
Yep.
Mark Lawrence says, having all the possible tube is best. What am I giving up by deleting the windshield bars and the crossbars at the B pillars?
So let me find a picture here. You're giving up a lot. Okay, so actually this picture, if you can see it, is a great one because you're looking at the dash V-bar, then right behind it is the B-pillar V-bar and then the C-pillar V-bar. Now, obviously, this is for like a four-door JL or JK versus, Mark's got an LJ. So the LJ would just have the B-pillar X-bar. These bars add so much lateral strength to the cage structure. And I got to tell you, the best way for me to explain this, the best analogy I can think of is it's like wearing an open face helmet on a motorcycle or a full face helmet on a motorcycle. Put all the tubes in. It doesn't really encumber you. These Dash V bars, Jennings can attest. Like you might look at them right when you get into the Jeep, but once we get moving, you never see them. You're looking straight through there and you don't see them at all. And by the way, the ones on my previous KOH car were this big. This is how big that Dash V bar is, right? That's a huge difference. So these are tiny by comparison. I just want to let you know that these are all great examples. And I've seen rollovers where these bars will be twisted and bent. And that just shows you that in the rollover, they were working so hard to try and keep that thing from, just parallelogramming over. And by the way, if it parallelograms over, what's sitting out in the open? Your head. Okay, so don't make that mistake. You want all the bars. The other thing many of you may not know is, when I was racing KOH, I crashed several times going over 100 miles an hour. And the only reason I'm here is because I had all the bars and I wore all the safety gear. And let me tell you, like those crashes were so violent that I actually bruised the sac around my heart. And my eyes turned blood red, from the impact. And, you're talking about some crazy stuff, end over end, then rolling. Then when I came to a halt, somebody else hit me in the dust. Like there's some horrific stuff. So if anybody knows about roll cages of safety, it's me. And I swear by this stuff.
33 Pika says, I'm a tall dude with a fat head. Does the GenRight cage offer similar head space to a factory setup? Okay,
so here's the deal, because I just talked about this yesterday with somebody. If you want your factory hardtop or soft top to fit, the cage can only be so big. Okay, so we've maximized every single square inch. In fact, let me go through. These were some of the examples with the different bars that I was looking for. But I've got a couple of shots inside to show you like this, how, we have pushed, you can't even run your finger between the tube and the top. Like we have absolutely maximized that the best you can. And here's the deal. If you're super tall and you're not going to run a harder soft top, then you can go get a custom cage made. But the cages that we offer, people absolutely demand that a factory hard or soft top will still fit. So that's our constraint that we have to work around.
Ginger asked, are the front V bars not street legal?
I think there are some states that that could be an issue. I like personally, this is a great example. A customer, got the cage powder coated it white, it matched their scheme, whatever. If you're worried about that, what I would do is I would wrap those two V-bars in black, okay? And by the way, if you wrapped it in black, you'd also not see them, okay? So, and neither would the cops. So I think most police officers are former military and they love Jeeps as it is. You have improved the safety of your vehicle, okay? Now, one of the other, I'm waiting for this question, but I'm just going to jump to it right now. One of the other things we do is we always include the factory seatbelt mounts for all passengers, right? Whether it's a TJ, YJ, JK, JL. And you can also run harnesses based on the other bars that we give you, okay? So that way you can run both. Some states are very particular about harnesses. I haven't had that experience, and I've traveled, to every state, so I don't know.
Jay Ayers asks, will the best top fastback top fit with the two-door JK cage?
Actually, I don't know. That is it right there. And that does not look like it would fit.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That is the very first two-door JK cage we did. And that's in a local guy named Roger Berry right here. And I actually built that myself. That was one of the first ones, and I wanted to do it myself.
At one point, Broken Part says, at one point Tony showed a JK seat mount that was adjustable for aftermarket seats. Any chance of bringing that to market? My Pro seats do have me sitting higher than I would like.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk about that for a second. So that the tall guy that asked the question earlier, that's the other option. Move the seats down, right? So if you've ever been out to King of the Hammers or one of the other races, you're required to have a fist above your head before the roof. And we set everything up so that when you're in there, if you're average height, that you will have that much space. Now, if you're taller, you change the seats, they have a different profile, whatever that looks like, then that's going to make a difference. So let's take a look here. So I just went to the search bar on our website and typed mounts. So we have all kinds of seat mounts. And I don't know what kind of Jeep that gentleman's talking about. This one right here is our JK rear seat mount, which if you click on this. So this is really cool in my opinion. So what we did was we gave you the seat mounting for like a PRP, suspension style seat. These are dropped all the way down as far as you can get them, right? So the idea was to keep the passengers low, and in order to do that so they weren't looking at the back of the driver and passenger's head, we squished the seats together a little bit so that they look through the middle of the driver and co-driver, so to speak. So they're looking through the middle. I don't know if I have another picture of that. There you go. There's with the seats in. So we've moved those in, and that really helps to make the rear seating nice. Now the front seats, we also have front seat mounts. Let me get out of here. I think there's a link down to, here. Okay, so these are the front seat mounts, and of course these are JK. I also have them for TJ, YJ, LJ. But these are, really nice, and you can see that the way that they're built. Let's click on this. anytime you see a picture, if you click on it, it opens up into a bigger image. These are right on the floor. So these seats are as low as you can get them. It's really easy to raise seats. It's hard to lower them. So we always build it so that you can do that. So that's another thing that we're always thinking about, right? You know, the other thing I should remind everybody is every product that we're selling you, I have run myself. If we go back.
Do you consider average height at 5'10"?
That would be that's average. I'm 5'8".
Stacy Swanigan, is that for fist measurement on top of a helmet or just your head?
Well, if you're racing, that's on top of a helmet, but if you're trail riding, that would be enough. The idea there is that if you flip over, whatever the shoulder harnesses and lap belts stretch, that it would still keep you from hitting your head. That's another thing that we could talk about for a second. Is I absolutely always recommend, always 100%. I don't care if you're running a stock seat, jab a freaking hole in that and run a 5th point. Okay, you have, if you've never run 5 points, you have no idea. And if you have ever ridden with me and you've used the 5 points, man, you feel so solid, so secure in the seat. You're one with the vehicle. It's a completely, you know, a stock seat is so flat and loosey-goosey. You know, I don't know. I mean, maybe when you first get started, that's fun, and you know, but it's dangerous. So that's all I can tell you.
Ted Moreno says, I'm super happy with my cage and I'm 6'2".
There you go. There you go. And he's running aftermarket seats. So I'm sure.
Coda says, I'm 5'2" and never hit my head, not once.
No, and Laura's ridden with me, right? With the 5 points, like the whole thing. So this is my original growler. I included this picture because this was the original cage that I built for myself. And after this, I pulled this cage out and I built a different one because I was going to race this Jeep at King of the Hammers back in 2009. And this cage was sold to another gentleman who looped his Jeep, destroyed it. The only thing good out of the wreckage was the cage. He pulled it out and stuck it in another tub and is still driving it today. So, and he was telling me, you know, where it landed. Because remember, all the weight is up in the front where the engine is. So, you know, it lands right on that A-pillar. And that's why you need that V-bar. You need all the strength and support you can get right there. And how it attaches to the tub and the frame is all super important. So, yeah.
Yee Jeeps asks, why is it okay the A-pillar only goes down to the dash versus tub floor on the JKU?
So, the JKU, when they built those, that structure on the side is many layers. And way back, you know, I spoke with some of the Jeep engineers and we talked about how to attach, and actually this is the plate right here. There's two things. So this plate goes down inside the dash and this guy hooks on right here, and this locks into, and I know you can't see this when it's in the Jeep. It's hidden, you know, behind the little bit of the dash. But this dowel right here, which is also thick wall tubing, and by the way, these come to you pre-welded from us. This stuff locks in, and we use all grade 8 hardware, and this is really stout. We do, by the way, like if you're going to race, then you don't use this, and we do make a full tube that goes all the way to the floor and ties in the frame, okay? But the difference is this is all strong enough for a serious trail wheeler. In fact, the the pink one that I showed you rolled over, you know, had this same, you know, cage stanchion setup. This also has, you know, when we did the old CJ, YJ, TJ, a similar kind of a stanchion setup as well.
Kevin K says, a 6 foot here with a 5'6" wife. Have the seats all the way up so she can drive as well in our JL with aftermarket seats. Absolutely no issue hitting heads with a 4-point harness.
Okay, there you go.
Alex Israel, do you offer 5th point mounts or do you have any suggestions?
Well, okay, so 5th points come in a variety of ways. Some of them come with just a loop and a buckle, so you have to loop it around a tube or something under the seat, you know, so they don't know what you're putting in it. If you're putting in a race car or in a go-kart, right? They don't know. Some come with a tab with a single bolt. So some people will use 4 rib nuts and, you know, put something in like a plate that's got a nut in it, you know, where they can bolt a tab like that to it. Other people will loop that stuff around. You know, it doesn't take much, right? That 5th point is really, I don't know, can they see my waist right now? Mm-hmm. Okay. So when you sit in a seat, and I've done tech talks on this too, we can revisit this in the next one. But when you sit in the seat, everything is held down by your hips. Like if I could take these off and they're doing nothing, okay? So you the 5th point is what, it's uncomfortable, but it pulls you in, and that's what's holding you. The shoulder straps are only to keep you from hitting your face on the steering wheel or the dash, okay? If you crank these, what you do is you compress your back. So then if you hit something hard or you do flip over, now you are going to compress your back and hurt yourself bad. So the shoulder harnesses are not intended. That's why you need the 5th point. The 4 point, when you keep cranking these, all it's doing is pulling the waist belt up. So it's a little bit, you know.
Winston's posing.
Oh, but if you, you know, obviously any race car of any kind is going to have a 5 point. So there's a reason for that. Okay.
Okay, off topic, Aaron Parker, building a tracer, have all the frame side mounts complete. Would you do drivetrain and axles next or start working on the tub, building in stages?
Yeah, I'd probably do the drivetrain. Yeah. Yep.
Okay, Bo Fisher says, any chance y'all make a builder's kit for roll cages for the JK, specifically the main mounting points on the body? A fabricator could build off of those and have a custom designed cage. Yeah,
so we don't. And the reason we don't is there's just too many doggone copycats out there. It seems like all our competitors do is just buy that stuff and reverse engineer it, and the next thing I know, I got another guy out there making cages to compete with us. So I feel the same way on tire carriers. There's like so many of our products that I just feel like everybody's trying to rip us off. So, you know, for the old CJ, YJ, TJ, we make the stanchion kits available. And there are various fabrication parts if you look through our DIY section. But when it comes to like the JK, I mean, guys, that's the magic of how our cage works. You know, there's 32 bolts that hold our JK cage to the tub. And there's sandwich plates, there's all kinds of things going on that make that thing what it is. And you know, the tubing, I mean, let's face it, you know, 2-inch tubing like this is like $12 a foot. Now, you know, no, it doesn't come cut and mitered and puzzled and all that stuff, but you know, the tubing's the cheap part. Okay.
Built to Crawl asks, is there going to be an option to tie the A-pillar down to the frame on the JLU similar to the JKU, or is there no need with the new slug design on the JLU cage?
So the JL is a completely different animal. Let me see if I have a picture, because I think, I mean, this is, this is what we're dealing with right here, right? So what they're talking about is there's a slug that goes in. We don't show this in any pictures because it's also one of those things that people will just rip off from us. So I'm like, if you're going to rip me off, you're spending $4,000 to buy a cage, and then you can rip me off. It has this male piece that goes inside of it that also bolts together. So this is a big part of the magic that's happening here. There's other brackets that go here. There's the piece that goes underneath that ties into the body mounts. And in the rear, there's a whole section, because the sheet metal is so thin on the JL, that ties into that. Now, the good news is I worked with the engineers at Jeep. Let me grab my little thing here. I work with the engineers at Jeep for this section in particular, because that is boxed in a way that we can't get a tube around it. And all these tubes here work around the dash, and that's the picture that I was looking for. I guess it doesn't really show it, but we leave this entire dash, top of the dash, intact. You don't trim it, you don't cut it, you don't do anything. It's absolute beauty the way this thing fits in there. Oh, and by the way, just like you, I'm a Jeep enthusiast, right? Well, after I paid $65,000 for my JL Rubicon, I didn't want to give up my, visors with my garage door controls in it, and my microphones and one-touch stuff, and lighted vanities on both sides, and I didn't want to give up all that stuff. So, and the newer ones even come with the adaptive cruise control. Well, we reincorporated all that stuff. Guys, we spent 2 years running every possibility, every top that Jeep made, the one touch, the hard top, the soft top, making sure all the latches are easy to get to, that all this stuff can be reused. We even have brand new stuff that you don't even have to trim a lot of the plastic anymore. You're able to just put brand new GenRight mounts in now. So, we're getting better at doing all this stuff as well. But the idea was that the things and the reason you bought this vehicle for some of these creature comforts, you're not giving those up. You're still going to maintain those when you buy a GenRight cage. A lot of the other manufacturers are just like, hey, we don't know what you're doing for visors. Like, really? Because what I know is if you don't plug some of this stuff in anymore, well, guess what? You're hands-free on your cool factory, head unit doesn't work anymore because you took the microphones out and stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of, like, these are the things I don't think people think through when they're like trying to go get this stuff, or they're shopping on price, right? We've thought all this through, and you're getting a complete product that isn't shy of tubes either. Because keep in mind, the other way people lower the price for you, other manufacturers, is they cut tubes out, okay? So when you take the tubes out, yeah, sure, you can cut $1,000 out of this thing quick, but you just took all the way safety away too, okay?
Aaron Parker says, do not buy an off-brand cage. You and your family's safety is at stake.
There you go.
Matt McDonough asks, is a cage able to be an air tank? And is that a good idea or a bad idea? That is,
I would not do that. I would not do that. There's a couple of different reasons. One, we haven't talked about it yet, but we're getting there. Let me get to the picture and I'll show you. I might have passed it. This is one of them. So one of the things that I wanted to show you guys is how it puzzles together, right? So there's a male locator on the tube and a female, and those lock together, okay? Now, for whatever reason, if you, which I don't recommend, discard using one of the tubes because you don't like it, you cannot leave the hole open. Any hole of any kind, of any size, weakens the tube, okay? So whatever you do, even if you think you're smarter than I am and you've decided you don't need that tube, you better fill in that hole. You got to weld it in. I'm not talking with Bondo. You got to weld it in. And, or if you hit something, that tube will crush. Okay, so very, very important. I was trying to find, we give you all the factory bungs. Oh yeah, and the seats fold down flat like they're supposed to from the factory, even with a cage. I don't know about you, but that's pretty darn impressive. That took us a long time to make happen.
Steve Diamond says, just put Reed racing knuckles and PSC big bore steering kit on my 2016 JKUR. Since the high steer Reed knuckles lift up the tie rods 1.5 inches, what recommendations do you suggest to lift the OEM bracket for the dampener or hydronic assist ram? I have king coilovers, 37s with Terraflex long arms. Does the track bar need to move up from the OEM bracket as well, the 1.5 inches?
Yeah. Well, if you bought that from us, somebody did you a disservice and they didn't sell you the whole kit. You cannot buy that high steer kit without buying the track bar, okay, which has brand new mounts that move it in parallel. And just throw the stupid dampener away. You're not going to need that anymore because now you've got real good stuff on there. Ram assist is a completely different animal. If you're talking about on a Dana 44 and you're still running the factory style coil springs, your space is very limited. And to properly mount the ram, you have to mount it from the differential cover over to the knuckle. Everybody else does it the other way. They do it from the track bar mount over to the middle, and then they put one of those stupid clamps on there, and then that thing slips and bends, and that's a whole nother nightmare. If you've ever watched Tech Talk, I've covered this 1,000 times, but don't do it. Don't do it for sure. And seriously, if you didn't get the track bar, you need to be on the phone with us tomorrow morning, okay?
Rick Turner says, off topic, sent Keith at GenRight a picture of the plumbing on the new 04 TJ GenRight tank install. He said it looked good, but still having some burnt back issues while filling the tank. Any suggestions?
Yeah, okay. So when you're talking about, I don't have a piece here, but when you're talking about those small vent hoses, okay, if you bend them too sharp, even though they don't look like it, they kink, right? It's a very small, they're 1/4 inch inside hole going through there. Somewhere in the system, it's kinked. It either, when you put the tank up, it got smashed, but something's not right. It should not do that. The system is designed to flow just like factory did. And yeah, you got to figure that out because it's definitely not right.
Chuck Williams says, no holes in the tubes, so I guess that means you can't run wiring in the tubes?
Never. I'm glad you brought that up. Never. I don't care. If you want to do that, don't buy a GenRight product. Absolutely not. Like, just don't. Because that is a huge liability for me and my company, and I'm not interested. It's not worth the $3,000.
How do you run them on your JL?
You zip tie them to the outside of the cage. Look. I mean, we just showed you a bunch of finished products. And if you do it right, you don't even see it. Here. So there's black zip ties on a black, and that's all the factory wire harness to run the lights. You know, keep in mind, in a JL, guys, there is freaking wires everywhere in these things. Let me see if we have another picture. Yeah, here's another picture from the other side. Here's it coming down. You just move it a little bit to the inside, and so you don't see it as much from the outside. I mean, even if, are you still zoomed in?
Yeah.
Even if I go all the way back, come on. Here. Okay, so here's my cage in my Jeep, gray. You see 2 zip ties right there. You see 2 on the other side. That's it. All my lights are wired. I got speakers in there. I mean, we're not talking about a big deal. And it's definitely not worth the compromise in safety. No way. No way.
Okay. Rick Moto Dents. How do you feel about adding on to the factory TJ roll cage? Also tying it into the frame until I build my own full custom one.
I mean, you know, it's better than just what's there. I mean, if that's your only option, then yeah. We offer some cage to frame. We have if you haven't been over to our DIY stuff, you should. We have a ton of little products that, you know, different body mounts. And here, this is the one I was looking for. So cage to frame tie-in kit. And this is universal. So you can use it, you know, on the B pillar, the C pillar, the A pillar, like whatever you want. Let's see, I think we have a picture. Here it is. So the cage tube would be on top of the body. This mounts to the bottom and then goes over to the frame. And it's urethane isolated so that the body mounts can still flex. So we give you the tubing a little bit longer than it needs to be, and then you trim it to whatever you're trying to do, and there you go.
Daniel Ross says, thank you, Tony. This is great timing. I was just talking to Andrew and saying, should I do cage or should I do the system first?
Ah, nice.
Cage first.
Cage. Yeah. I don't know. I know there's at least 6 people on here tonight that I know have ridden in either Aftershock or Terremoto with me, and they can all attest to how safe and secure they felt in there. It's just a completely different deal.
Built to Curl says, after our JV trip with Ari and Yee Jeeps, we have a dumb idea to do the Everyman Challenge in the future. With the JLU cage past tech after adding door bars into the cage.
You'd have to talk to one of the tech guys. It is the proper size tube. It would just be a matter of whether they would approve the A pillar mounting or they want you to do something else. You know, it would probably just be an add-on, I would imagine. And if you told me what they said, I could probably even help you with it. Okay.
Matt McDonough says, do you need diagonal door bars like how drag races do on cars, or could you add door bars?
Let me see. They are specific. And we offered them for a long time for the JK, because that's what I have on Terremoto right here. So these guys, and again, guys, it's all about how each one of these transitions is what they call a node. And the nodes have to tie together, okay? So what everybody's been asking about is this one right here, right, the A pillar. So on my Jeep, they go all the way down and tie into the frame because I raced it. And then you have to have a door bar here. And part of the reason they want you to have a door bar is because if you get T-boned in the dust, they don't want that vehicle's front bumper coming right into you and killing you, right? We're talking about people who have lost their mind with a helmet on, and you know, they're going full throttle whether they can see or not. So, and like I said, I just told you guys 20 minutes ago, you know, I rolled several times and the guy behind me hit me in my dust. Okay, so they were obviously out of control. Didn't even think, what's this weird dust cloud in the middle of the desert all of a sudden? Like, let's just drive full speed through it, dummy.
Aguathire says, LJ build fastback or family cage, pros versus cons. No rear seats and keeping factory soft top. Okay, so if you have people that you want to ride in the back, do not do a fastback. There is zero coverage for people in the back seat. You will kill them for sure. You must have the regular style like this, you know, where you're getting rear seat protection.
Now this is obviously TJ, but it's just a longer version of this for the LJ. It's identical. So believe it or not, this front section from here to here on TJ or LJ is identical. We just changed the tubes for the rear section to fit LJ. So.
Ari asked, will you do an add-on for the JLU cage as you did with the JKU cage to go to the floor?
We could talk about that. It takes away all your foot room. So if you're ready to do that, I'll make you one. I mean, yeah. Then I can answer every single person's question right here. So
JC Cologne says, off topic, when I retorque my Raceline bead lock, should I do it on or off the Jeep?
No, you can do that on the Jeep. Some people like to do it off because it's flat and it's just easier to get to all of them. You know, when you do it on the Jeep, it's a little bit more cumbersome when you get to the bottom, but it's totally doable. I'll be honest, I've always done mine on the Jeep, and typically it takes 3 cycles. So, you know, you do your first time, you go run it, you'll come back, it'll take a cycle, then you'll go back out, run again, you'll tighten it again. By the 3rd one, it's at the real torque rating, and you're done. You really shouldn't, unless you've like run hard up against a rock where you think that you might have screwed up the bolts, then I wouldn't even bother. Now, if you have screwed up bolts, and certainly if you screwed up several of them, then deflate that tire before you check the heads. Because if they start snapping off, that thing's gonna blow up in your face. So, be careful.
Gavin asked, how long will you be without your Jeep when you're getting installed on a JLUR?
Like a cage?
Yeah.
So, a couple things. For us to take out the interior and put the interior back in takes as long as it does for us to build the cage, okay? So I always recommend, if you even know which end of the wrench to hold, you gut the vehicle yourself. Get the carpet out, get everything you can out, and bring it to us with a milk crate, that you're sitting on a milk crate. And you will save yourself half the money. You do that, then you're talking about, it's probably 2-3 weeks tops. It takes us a week to build it, to install everything and build it. Then we pull it, it goes to the powder coater, comes back, gets installed, and then we deliver it. So if you want us to put in the interior, you add 2 more weeks.
Chump Change says, GenRight cage on my YJ survived a 720-degree roll with barely a scratch. That cage is the only reason I'm able to type this comment. Thanks for a highly engineered cage, Tony.
There you go.
Nice.
And that was part of what I started to say earlier, is I'm only offering you guys what I would personally want myself, right? And I don't know if you ever heard the story or not. When I built Terremoto and the Elite suspension and the cage and everything, I didn't care if anybody ever wanted to buy it. I was building it for myself. Like, I just wanted the most bitchin' Jeep there was on the planet. And sure enough, after I finished it, people were like, "Can I get that? Can I get that?" So, but I feel like I have to take that approach. Like I'm going to go for it and do things the way I know they should be done and the way I want them done. And then people start to appreciate it, or they don't. But so far they have. Everybody's, really received that well and wanted to buy our parts for that reason.
Anthony Paquette says, off topic, I watched your video from the Hammers experience and noticed you shifted all the way down, then up to reverse. Did you run mostly in drive, or were you in first?
So my transmission does not have a drive. So I run what's called a full manual valve body. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. But I do not run a reverse pattern. Okay, so my first gear is all the way at the bottom, and then I run up toward neutral and then reverse and park. The reason I do that is, first off, I'm not worried about going over backwards. I know how to drive. Second, when I come from low range to go back to high, I do not have to come to a stop. So I can run up through the low range gears into neutral. I put pressure on the shifters. It'll shift the moment the gears line up, and then I just go right back to gear, and I'm rolling again in high. I don't know if you could see that or not, or watch that closely, but my transitions from high to low and low back to high were very, very quick.
Okay, we're all caught up, and it's 6 o'clock.
Wow! Did we really get through everything?
Yeah.
The kits, making them look nice, right? Working with hard tops, saving all the interior space. Here's without the B-pillar, right? That's an option too, removable B-pillar on the 4 doors, including, keeping everything. Oh, we didn't get to talk about this, the laser etching of the part numbers on each of the tubes. So we give you a map on how to assemble this whole thing. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there's a laser etched GRC 2092R. There'll be an R and an L. And you just put them in the right place. And as long as you follow that map, you can't make a mistake. There's the fastback cage. So you can see the rear passengers are completely exposed. Again,
is there a cage for a 1985 CJ7?
Right. Well, this is the floor stanchion stuff and dash stanchion for that. But yes, it's very similar to the YJ, but the dash stanchions are slightly different.
Chuck Williams says, can you talk about the height of crossbars behind the front seats where you may attach your harness?
Yeah.
I've heard that's a concern.
It is. So it's right here is what he's talking about. It's what a lot of people refer to as the harness bar. This has to be when the harnesses come over your shoulders, it needs to be within 8 degrees slope down. So if your shoulders are a little higher or less, right? If you say your shoulders are the same height as the seat, then they're just going straight back. But you don't want there to be too much slope, too little slope. There's an ideal point there. And what we did was we averaged that out for you based on the seat range. Remember, the seat moves too, right? So you can go up and down with that depending on your size. But we've accounted for all that. But yes, that's a great question. Yep.
Rick Turner says, as always, another awesome tech talk. Thanks, Tony and Jennings.
Yep, you're welcome.
Welcome.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for watching. We will see you soon.